Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jordan with the Laundromat Resource Podcast. This is show 112, and I am pumped that you're here today because today we have on the show David Laing, who's about to just back up a dump truck right in front of you and just empty out a huge pile of gold right at your feet. And all you got to do today is pick it up and run with it. Okay. But the key is you got to pick it up and run with it. You got to take action on some of this stuff. So if there's an episode that you need to pick up your note-taking device and take some notes, it's this one and probably actually the next two even also, because those ones are jam-packed. Also, I'm super excited about this little 3 in a row that we've got right here. Man, you got to take some action on this thing. The action is what's going to help you achieve your goals, whether that's getting into your first laundromat, optimizing the operations of your current laundromat or laundromats, or scaling up to a laundry empire. Whatever your goal is, you've got to take action on that. So, pick something out of this episode and every episode and take some action on it. I'll share my big takeaway. It's hard to narrow it down to just one, but I'll share my big takeaway if I can do it at the back end of this. And hopefully you can share your big takeaway too. All right. Super excited that you get to hear from David, and we're going to do that in 1 second. But really quickly, I want to just mention 2 things. Number one is March 7th. We're doing what we call our Mastermind induction in the pro community. And, about every 6 weeks or so, we get together. Everybody who wants to join a mastermind group or who wants to join another mastermind group gets together, and I put everybody in mastermind groups, and we kick off new mastermind groups. And that happens about every 6 weeks. That's happening March 7th, 2023. So if you're listening to this within the first week or so of when this comes out, and you're interested in joining a mastermind group, check it out, laundromatresource.com/pro, and come check it out. Not only do you get access to a mastermind group, and I'll tell you what that is in a second, we do weekly live calls. And in fact, David Laing is doing our live Q&A along with me. This week, today's guest is doing the live Q&A in the pro community this week. Super excited about that. And we've had other guests like Andrew Cunningham and more will be coming. We're doing panel discussions. We do deal analyses. We analyze deals on call. So we got a lot of really cool stuff we're doing every single week in the pro community. And not only that, but you get access to all the tools and resources and the community itself. Super cool. Check it out, laundromatresource.com/pro, especially if you want to get into that mastermind, a mastermind group here in the next week or so. Okay, so there's that. And I just wanted to mention that because that only happens about every 6 weeks that we do that. And if we need to, we'll make it more frequent, but that's where we're at right now, about every 6 weeks, and that's happening now. So come jump in. And if you're listening to this after the fact, come join us anyways. There's a ton going on all the time over there. A lot of really valuable info, a lot of really valuable insight and information, and it's great. And real quick, what a mastermind group is, just in case you don't know, it's a group of about 3 to 5 people and maybe 6 or so. And, what you're doing is you're sharing your goals together. You're sharing your lives together. You're sharing, business practices. You're keeping each other accountable. And, I've been saying it forever is we're all better when we work together. And so I've really tried to design this pro community around that concept. That's like a core tenet of what I've been trying to do. It's why I do the podcast, and we're asking other owners, what they're doing and what's working and all that stuff. It's all intentional because I do think that we're all better when we work together. And there's you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with, you're spending the most time with, right? And so why not get into a group of people who are, number one, going in the same direction as you, thinking through the same things as you, and can help you, problem solve and take the next step in your journey. Man, I love the idea of the mastermind group. And I think it's probably the most powerful thing you could do to hit bigger goals faster. And if your goal is to hit bigger goals faster, whether that's leaving your 9 to 5 or, just getting some side income and building that, side income up, or that passive income, quote unquote, up, or if it's building a laundromat empire, whatever those goals are, if you want to go bigger and you want to go faster, the best way to do that is to get in a room, either literally or digitally. I don't know. Get around other people who are number one, go in the same direction as you. And number two, can help you get to, those goals and help you keep you accountable and help you problem solve all that stuff. Anyway, I'm super excited. I could go on forever, but I won't, because you guys always tell me how long I take and how long-winded I am. So let's jump into it with David Laing right now. David, thank you for coming on the show. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Jordan. Thank you so much. This is awesome.
I'm excited. Yeah, this is super awesome. And you just reminded me, we actually met like a year, almost like exactly a year ago, I think.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's almost exactly a year ago.
Yeah. And we were
last year.
Yeah, we were talking about a laundromat you were thinking about buying that you ended up not buying, right?
That's right. Yeah, we couldn't agree on a price.
Yeah, that's funny. But man, I can't wait to hear. I don't think we've really talked since then, so I can't wait to hear kind of the progress and the update. But before we get into all that, first of all, I got to tell you, I'm freezing cold over here at 50 degrees and raining. But I know you are up in the Great White North up there.
Yes.
What's the weather like right now?
You know what? It's been a really mild January. Just the ski hills basically just opened, so I'm going skiing tonight. But it's I think it's like -1 Celsius today. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. Probably
that's like mild. Yeah.
Something. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely not like California. That's for sure.
Oh gosh, man. I think I said this on like a previous podcast episode, but I don't know that I've ever been in negative temperature weather ever.
Oh, really? Ever?
In my life. Yeah.
Well, you got to come on up here, man. We'll go skiing.
I would love to, just for brief moments, not long term. All right. So that you don't freeze solid, let's keep this thing moving.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
Tell us a little bit about you, your background, who you are, and then maybe how you started getting interested into laundromats.
Yeah, for sure. I'm an airline pilot by trade, and I work for a big airline here in Canada. And I've been doing that for 11 years with this particular company. I've always been interested in investing in business. Real estate investing was always something, even as a teenager, I was like, that's really cool. It's what I want to do. I had some uncles that were into business. And so I ended up I think it was 2016. We had bought our first multifamily it was a triplex, a small apartment building. I had just sold our first house, and basically we used some of that extra equity to invest. So I partnered with my mom on that. We bought a triplex, and then that same year we bought another triplex that was a complete gut renovation. And I partnered with a friend of mine who's he's like a pretty big real estate investor around here, especially in that family. He's got a lot of the small buildings. We really knew the market and kind of knew exactly. So he was able to lead us on this renovation project. So I partnered with him. We got our second property, and then that same year we bought another property, 5-plex, and partnered with my mother-in-law on that one. So we were able to kind of spread the equity that I wanted to invest over 3 properties by partnering with different people. And that was in 2016. The market was good in this little city west of Toronto. But, as everywhere, things have just gone absolutely crazy. This year last year, I was looking to buy another rental property, and things were just, I couldn't wrap my head around, or I couldn't justify buying anything because the prices were so outrageous and rents just hadn't kept pace. So I happened to be listening to My First Million. It's a podcast, where they talk about different business ideas all the time. And they had this woman, Cody Sanchez, very, very smart lady. And she was kind of talking about how she likes to buy boring businesses. And, she ended up talking about laundromats as an example. I think she owns a few laundromats. So she sort of made the case for why a laundromat in this day and age can be a better investment or better use of your money than a rental property. And so I started it really tweaked my interest. It really spoke to me because I was like, I can't find a rental property right now that I can justify buying. So I kind of went down this whole rabbit hole of the laundromat, and then I came across Laundromat Resource, and, just going through your website, and then all the free tools on there, listening to the podcast, and then, came across Coin Laundry Association and all the Facebook groups and everything. And, just all that wealth of information. I just kind of went down the rabbit hole, and I was like, yeah, this sounds awesome. Great opportunity. So that's, but that's when you and I ended up talking a year ago, about our the first one that we had put an offer on.
Yeah, you got sucked into the vortex of
big time.
That's hilarious. That's awesome. Okay, so so we talked. You were looking at a deal, and it ended up not working out. So tell me what happened after that? I talked to a lot of people who go after a deal, it doesn't work out, they get discouraged, and that's that. What was that experience like for you when you couldn't come to terms with a price for that deal?
Yeah, it was, I think it was really a blessing in disguise too, because the second deal turned out to be much better. But basically we went in, we knew going into this one in particular, I felt really well prepared after having talked to you about that particular deal and all the research we had done. I knew the population density in the immediate area. I knew how many turns per day they were doing, even though they weren't disclosing it, tax wise, it was just a cash operation. Mm-hmm. We were able to look at the spreadsheets, and then we were able to reconstruct revenue based on the water use. Mm-hmm. It seemed to line up. It was, we went in basically thinking, okay, this is going to be, just a starting point. We're here to build the business. And you had asked us, do you want an investment or a business? And I said, I want to build a business, with a wash and fold and pickup and delivery. So I'm okay with the fact that revenue is really low right now. They were just really, really badly managing it. Like, just, they turned off all the lights just to save energy. And it was kind of dark and dingy, like sort of a typical zombie mat type of thing.
Yeah.
We just come to terms on price, and then eventually the seller pulled it from the market, and we were really bummed. But it was just within a few days we found another listing that came up, and that one turned out to be better because there already was an existing wash and fold operation with the full-time attendant. So we were pretty happy about that.
Yeah, it's nice when your goal is to have that and it's already built in there and it's already built into the model. You don't have to build it from scratch, because that can be a little bit of a run up trying to figure out how to ramp that thing up. Are you going to eat some salary until you get enough business to cover it, or are you going to work it yourself? Or what's the game plan here? Are you going to do it part time and then try to ramp the time? It can be tough to figure out how to navigate that. So that is good that was already there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about that second one? Like what the deal looked like?
For sure. It was nice. So, basically it was, asking price was 175,000. It's a small place. It's only 1,000 square feet, just a little bit under actually. And, he was asking 175. It was netting about 50,000 a year. We ended up settling on 160. What I liked about it was the immediate area is very dense with lots of low rise apartment buildings. And then there's also sort of higher end development that's been taking place over the last 5 or 6 years in the area. It's on the north end of town. So it's not like it's centrally located, but the immediate area is really, like, the self-serve side of the business is really, really strong. And Yeah. So it's, the machines are older. Like these got three 50-pound machines, three 50-pound Dexters, three 30-pound Dexters, and there's a few, like a little mix of like 20, 25-pound machines. They're all like 15 to 20 years old. And so we're starting to this year replace some of the older machines. But the big thing that was really attractive to us was, so first of all, he was turning a profit on the wash and fold on the service side. Very strong self-serve revenue from what we could tell. It actually has gotten a lot stronger since we've implemented Laundryworks, like the card system, because we're able to see, down to the dollar exactly what the self-serve is bringing in. Before it was sort of, he didn't even really know. It was kind of ballpark. He's like, okay, worst case scenario, it's going to be, I think he had told us $1,200 a week. But it's turned out to be a lot stronger than that. Part of it too was with the cash, it's just, how messy it is with coins and everything. And
oh yeah.
That was one of the first orders of business, was to switch over to the card system. But yeah, the big thing for us was that it already had an established wash and fold business with about 13 or 14 weekly drop-off orders, mostly recurring customers. And he already had 12 corporate customers, like RMTs, like massage therapists, a couple of hair salons. And he had one big contract with the county. They have like an overnight kind of shelter facility. And so he had a big contract with them, which ultimately, when we took it over, they were no longer a customer. They put in their own facility and everything. So we didn't actually get to keep those guys, unfortunately. But thankfully, we've more than made up for it with new corporate customers. So I think that was just a huge benefit. Like I know, like just on a straight, investment metric, kind of the rule of thumb is 3 to 5x net. But I think for us, it just saved us so much work having the built-in, like a driver that knew the routes, a really great attendant that works full-time. She lives right next door. The customers love her. She's really good with customer service, and she works really hard. So we felt really blessed, especially in this day and age when the labor market is so tough for employers. We were like, there's value in this as well. So,
for sure,
we were going to have to invest in, just cosmetic, like paint. We painted the place. We fully rebranded, put up new signage, invested in the card system as well, which I think was a really good investment.
Yeah. All right. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So you kind of going back to the deal, you said they're asking 175, you settled on 160, they were netting 50. When you took over, did you find out they were actually netting about 50? Did that prove to be true?
Yes and no. With that county contract, it was, but once we lost the county contract, it wasn't making 50 anymore. And in fact, the wash and fold, what we discovered was actually losing money when you remove that big contract. Like that was a huge contract. Pricing was super, super low. Like the wash and fold at the time when we took over was $1 a pound. And they only had, outside of the corporate, so the corporate was $1 a pound. Drop off was $1 a pound. And keep in mind the corporate, of course, is pickup and delivery. So we're also paying for the driver. And they only had a couple of residential pickup and delivery customers. I think there was sort of 2 semi-regular residential pickup and delivery customers. So we knew right away that we were going to have to increase pricing across the board. On the machines, so we actually did end up increasing vend prices as well. And on the service side, I reached out to all the corporate customers, all 12 that we took over. And we said that, I just introduced myself. I said I wouldn't be, as far as they're concerned, all of their service and everything would remain the exact same, for the remainder of the year. So we took over July 6th. So essentially for 6 months, we just honored the $1 a pound for the rest of the year, even though we were losing money on it. And I wanted to really sort of cement myself as being a great solution to their laundry problem in their business, and kind of establish that relationship. Because there's no other pickup and delivery in the city as of yet, but there are other laundromats that offer wash and fold service, and they do it cheaper. And I wanted to make sure that they know that when we do raise the prices, we're good people, we're a good company that is going to serve them and work really hard to make sure that, they're happy. So we ultimately ended up just in the beginning of December, I gave everybody a notice that we're going to be raising those corporate rates to $1.50, which I know is still sort of low, but at least it's 50% more than we were making on it before. And at least now we're turning a profit on that corporate service side. And we started onboarding at $1.50 as well. So we took on some new customers throughout the last 6 months. And then we moved all of our drop off to $1.50 as well from $1. So again, and that's pretty, we were doing, right now we average 14 a week drop off orders. So we went from $1 to $1.50 on all of those, and there's been absolutely zero drop in business. And in fact, we're getting more business, we're getting busier. And our pickup and delivery for residential is all at $2 a pound. So we went from just a couple at $1 to right now we're averaging on about 6 to 7 residential pickup and delivery orders a week at $2 a pound. So we're really trying to grow that side of the business. I feel like I was tracking so when we first took over in the first quarter that we took over, July, August, September, we were kind of just trying to figure things out and be basically get a lay of the land and figure out what was happening. So we made very, very little. We were doing 1 or 2 pickup and delivery orders a week at $1 a pound. In the second quarter, so last quarter that we just finished, October, November, December, we saw a 250% increase in our pickup and delivery business, which is still modest, but we're, just definitely just trying to grow it. And I found probably the only difference was we just started answering the phone. I don't think the previous guy was, he was just too busy and just his mind wasn't on the business. So we literally we got a dedicated phone, a cell phone, and we just answer it. And we're we have a driver out 5 days a week. We'll slot you in. So our driver does the corporate stuff, and then any residential stuff picks up and delivers those as well. And so just that alone, just by saying, we can do that, we have a foundation of the residential pickup and delivery business that we can now grow upon. So and that's been really exciting. We've got a lot of return customers. People have been really, really happy. Everyone's we're finding that just by being friendly, people are so used to, the phone menus. You call a big company and you get, an automated service and everything. Just by, you're talking to a human being right now. Yes, I can take your order, and yes, we can do that. Here's the pricing, answer any of your questions. Yeah, you have any issues, just give a call. And then we find people just like to text us. So when it's a return, a return customer, they'll just shoot us a text and say, hey, can I get a pickup on Wednesday? Yeah, no problem. So that's been really cool. And I mean, the goal for now is to really lean into that residential pickup and delivery.
Yeah. Are you doing online orders at all, or are you not doing that yet?
Yeah. And I was going to, I was going to say something. I forget what it was now.
Are you doing online orders at all, or are you not doing that yet?
Yes. We signed up with Clean Cloud. And so we implemented the booking tool on our website. So we had our website with the new branding, like fully done up. If anybody's interested to look at it and see what our booking tool looks like, you can go to guelphlaundry.ca. Guelph is spelled Guelph. So guelphlaundry.ca. The website I think looks really, really good. We've got, Google Analytics on it. And I think we've got a Facebook pixel on it too for our marketing. And that's one of our partners does all of the digital marketing. But yeah, so Clean Cloud gives you a booking tool, and you can put it in your site, and you can set up what your delivery slot times are and everything. Right now, we're kind of experimenting with it, sort of trying to grow the residential side. So we have a morning slot from 9 a.m. till noon. And then we have an evening slot to try to get the after work crowd from, I think we actually just implemented that like 2 weeks ago, the evening slot. And pretty much it's just going to be me or my wife that does them now until we get busier and we can take on an evening driver kind of thing. I think one of the people you had on your podcast, a guy that has a really little, he said it was like same like my laundromat. It's like 1,000 square feet, but he got so busy that he ended up closing the self-serve side. Mm-hmm. And I remember he was saying, every now and again, you just have to stand in the gap. And that's kind of like what we've been doing too, is like right now for the evening slots, if an evening pickup and delivery order comes in, we stand in the gap and we just do it ourselves. Until we get busy enough, then we can have a driver in the evenings.
Yeah, that was.
One of the other. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick, that was Daniel Logan's episode. And I'll link to that, and I'll link to your guelphlaundry.ca
cool.
in the show notes. So if you're listening, check out the show notes, or if you're on YouTube down below, you'll get those links. All the links that we talk about will all be there. So I just wanted to mention that. But Daniel Logan was the one. That was an awesome episode too. Yes.
It resonated with me because I have a small laundromat as well. And so I was thinking, just like he has, the cool thing about a laundromat is, you can, even though the square footage is small, we can expand. Like we have room to add bigger machines. We can upgrade a couple of our smaller machines to larger capacity machines. We can increase the capacity, and then we can increase the hours. Like we can ideally run sort of a 24-hour operation where you have all your corporate stuff being done overnight and everything. So it sounded like that's exactly what he was doing. So yeah, really awesome guy.
Yeah.
One of the things that's been sort of interesting with the pickup and delivery, we had, my wife and I kind of gone on this sort of interesting entrepreneurial journey where a couple of years ago we got started with Amazon FBA, which is, where you design a product overseas, or it doesn't have to be overseas, but you design a product. Generally, it's manufactured in China or India. And then you sell it on Amazon. And we kind of went on this, sort of down that path before we had discovered laundromats. And Amazon being extremely, extremely competitive for third-party sellers, you have no choice but to offer absolute top service. Like you have to have the best quality and the best service, otherwise you'll just get crushed and you'll lose money. So we kind of, so one of the things that's common in Amazon among third-party sellers is trying to convert customers from being Amazon buyers to being buyers of your company, like trying to get those customers to be part of you or part of your business. Mm-hmm. And the question is like, how do you do that? Because Amazon has very tight regulations on how you can communicate with their customers. So what people will do is put insert cards in the product. So oftentimes when you get a product from Amazon, in the box, you'll see like a card that says, thank you so much, a little bit about us, fill out a survey or whatever, and possibly win a prize or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started doing that as well with our drop off and our wash and fold. Is like we've got the custom little cards that we put in all of the orders that go back out. Kind of just saying, we're a small family run business. We super appreciate, you and being our customer. And then on the other side, it's right now it just says, your laundry was washed and folded with care by Karen, our attendant. But I like the idea of having those little things because it's like an extra little personal touch. It costs next to nothing to print these little cards.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes Karen 2 seconds to throw them into the orders. But we could also, it's another way for us to communicate with our customers. Like we could have, possibly a QR code that they could scan and, we could enter them into a draw, if they could opt into our email list and we can, communicate with them about different sales or things like that, just to help build that loyalty. And so I've something that from a hyper competitive environment like Amazon, where you have to be, you have to have great customer service and a great product, and you have no choice. In the laundry business, what we're finding is, and you would know, Jordan, like it's like people are almost amazed when you deliver higher than standard customer service, right? Like customers,
the bar is low. Yeah.
The bar's been set really low. So it's not hard to, like, if you just treat people the way that they've become accustomed to, like, and you have that customer focus, people, they really appreciate it. And that's why we've been getting like really nice comments from people, and they're like, oh, you guys are the best. It feels really good.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things I found too is that, especially for, a company that is laser focused on providing like a great service, is, one of the things I found very effective is turn those fans of your business into your salesforce, right? And drop in with those cards, drop in hey, refer a friend, you guys both get X% off or X dollars off your next order or whatever. Like you can rack up, the more people we refer, the more, those kinds of things, and drop in those also in every single order. Like, hey, we appreciate you, refer a friend if you're enjoying the service, and, we'll give both of you guys whatever.
Yeah, big time.
And that can be super effective promotion, especially when you're laser focused on providing a great experience for people.
Mm-hmm.
And being friendly and taking care of the basics, like answering the phone, and you know what I mean? Like,
that's right. Yeah.
When you're there, people want to, refer their friends to people who they know are going to take care of their friends. Right. Absolutely. And so if you're that person, that can be a really, really effective way to promote your business, especially as you're starting to grow it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know, it's been exciting.
So you mentioned marketing, and that you have like a marketing company that's kind of helping you do some stuff. I mean, are you, what kind of marketing are you doing? Are you doing digital marketing? Are you doing offline marketing, in store? Like, what are you doing to try to build that business?
Yeah. So right now we do a mix of in-store marketing and digital marketing. So my brother-in-law has done the website, and he's doing all the Google ads. He's running our Facebook ads. So to talk about the marketing, I guess I'll start with in-store. We do just simple stuff, like we'll just print a poster. So right now we have a Google, we're trying to build our Google reviews because we rebranded. Mm-hmm. So we don't get the benefit of the previous company's Google reviews. Like he had, not that he had like a ton anyway, but I think he had maybe 30 or something like that. And they're pretty good. I think it was all 4-star pretty much. It was a 4-star, more than 4 stars. But with the rebranding, we were essentially starting from scratch. So what we did in our store, and this is the benefit of Laundryworks, is we printed up a poster and basically said, leave us an honest review. Here's the QR code. Just scan this on your phone. It takes you to our business listing. People leave a review. So send us a screenshot of the review and then send us a picture of the back of your Laundryworks card with where the number is. And then we'll add $5 to your account. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad review. Just give us an honest review. And and then we ask our attendant to make sure people were aware of it. And so she's been doing a great job at that. And so we've just in a couple of short months since we started this, we've already got 25 reviews, and they're all like 4.9 star. And I think the highest reviewed laundromat in the city has got like 130 or something like that. So within the year, I'm hoping that this year we'll hit 100 reviews. And that's been helping us big time with our ranking, our listing. The other thing is we sort of search engine optimized the name of our company. We called it Guelph Laundry Company, Guelph Laundry Co. So the idea being, if anybody searches in Google for Guelph Laundry Service or something, we come up. So we've been getting, so my brother-in-law, as I mentioned, does the digital marketing, and he's been monitoring our Google Analytics, and he can see where on the page people are looking and whether it results in a phone call, whether they're looking at the phone number or looking at the map for the address, or if they're looking at the Laundryworks booking tool. Mm-hmm. And so we can kind of see, are those converting to sales? Are they converting to self-serve business? Or, are people making a call? Ideally, they call us. And then generally when people call about our service, it converts to a sale. So we're sort of, we still don't have a ton of data. We've only been at it for a few months, but the goal right now, we literally only have a $500 a month paid marketing budget. That's going to Facebook and Google. But we're trying to see a positive return on our ad spend. So we'll be, monitoring that, keeping it at the 500 until we can say, for sure, positively that we have a positive ROAS on our ad or on our ad spend. The other thing is we're doing some organic. We haven't gotten our social media to where I want it yet. I want to be posting daily. Basically right now, I'll write content. I'll do 1 day a week. I'll write like a little article, like a 250, 300 word article. And then we'll convert that content to multiple formats. So I can make like an Instagram carousel out of that little article. Mm-hmm. Like it could be something like question of the day. Can I leave one of the biggest questions, one of the most common questions on Google about laundromats is, can I leave the laundromat when I'm doing my laundry? Mm-hmm. So I wrote a little article on that. So we put that as a blog on the website. And then I quickly in Canva make up a little poster that we can put on Pinterest, and it links to our blog on the website. And then we make up like a little 6 or 7 slide Instagram carousel with the same thing. And then also a Facebook post. So it takes me maybe no more than half an hour a week to write a little article. And then right now, I'm doing it right now. My sister helps as well. She does it. Actually, she was doing all the socials, but she said she doesn't want to do it anymore, which I totally get because she has a little baby at home and she just started a new job. So it's all good. So we might maybe just hire somebody on Fiverr to basically convert all this stuff into the different, like the Instagram carousel and Pinterest and everything, and just have them do it. It doesn't take long. I do it myself right now, for the last couple of weeks. We've been posting in local groups, Facebook groups. There's like online market groups where sellers, of crafts and local business businesses, and those have actually been really great. Like those have for sure converted into customers. Like we've actually had people reach out to us and say, "Hey, I saw your post in the local Facebook group there. Can I get some more price? Can I get some pricing on your pickup and delivery service?" And so that's resulted in 2 sales right there, which are now actually recurring customers. So, yeah, you just can't beat free on that side. So
that's right. Yeah. So it sounds like you got a lot.
Yeah. So for right now, that's.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say that's the extent of our marketing right now. We haven't been doing anything physical, like in the city. We haven't done any signage or anything like that. But I'm thinking. I think maybe attending local markets would be cool. Maybe this summer, if things are happening. Doing draws and just really like the whole goal is we're really trying to go after this residential pickup and delivery, and that's really what we're trying to promote. Self-serve is great. We're really happy with where that's at. We could also increase the drop off, but the pickup and delivery is really what we want to be growing this year.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah. And I think, what's really funny is you're talking kind of casual about your marketing, like, oh yeah, we're just kind of ramping up that kind of stuff. But like the amount of stuff you're doing, I guarantee you're doing more than 90+% of laundromat owners out there through, running ads, doing, an in-store poster that's actively trying to get Google reviews, which is, that's probably the best thing that you can do organically, right? Is try to get
big time
reviews on Google, especially Yelp, too, but mostly Google. I love the stack of, going from the short blog post to, doing all the other social media stuff from that post. I think that's great. I think that's a really great way to go. And then posting in Facebook groups. That's kind of a lot of stuff for a laundromat from an industry that traditionally really didn't do a whole lot of anything. If anything, maybe door hangers or something like that around the neighborhood.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, no, that's awesome. And I think, that should be a lesson for all of us, right? Like this is kind of where our industry's going. Like you've got to do some marketing and advertising, right? And you said, we're only spending, $500 a month right now. But I would say probably most laundromats still are not spending anything a month on their marketing. So kudos to you. Great job marketing. I wanted to ask you about the card system, Laundryworks. When you put that in, why did you make that decision, and what impact has it had on the business?
Well, I knew I wanted to put in a card system for the analytics and just for the ease of getting rid of coins. I didn't know which way to go because, as you know, there's a few. I just kind of scoured the Facebook groups and in the search on the Facebook groups, I just typed in card readers, card system, and then the individual names like Laundryworks, and Spider Wash is the other one, I think, and I don't know. There's a few of them, and I'd only seen good reviews from people that were using Laundryworks. And so we ended up making the decision. It's not cheap. It's I have no problem talking pricing. Like it basically, we bought there's two. So for people that don't know, why don't I just back up? For people that don't know, when you put in a laundry card system like Laundryworks, the machines themselves only have a card reader. So you can't put any money into a machine. So all the machines have a reader, and the readers communicate with, it's called a VAC, or a value add center. It's kind of like your kiosk where you actually put your money in. It's the point of sale. And then you get a laundry card with value on it. So we ended up going with the system. So you have to buy a reader for each machine. We've got double stack dryers, the Dexter 30-pound double stack dryers. And so it's one reader per double stack dryer.
Mm-hmm.
And so the VAC itself, I mean, don't quote me exactly on the breakdown, but the VAC itself is like $8,000 or $9,000. And then all in all, including installation, we hired a local technician to help us install it. We had to close the business for 2 full days. And it was about 18,000 after tax, all in, with the technician's help. He was about 1,800, I think. So it's about 18K all in. So it's not like a decision that should be taken lightly. Like we definitely, but I had thought about it a ton. I'd researched it a lot, and I couldn't be happier. The customers love it. The analytics that we get are outstanding. So before we were estimating we were making around $1,200 a week on the self-serve, and it's turning out we're bringing in around 8,000 a month now on self-serve, and it's awesome because we can see to the dollar what machines are making what. We can see, exactly what people prefer. So I can tell, how many staff machine starts we've had. I can tell how much we've spent in, our staff doing corporate laundry. Plus you build a float. So as people are paying for their laundry card, let's say they put $20 on their card and they only spend 15, you essentially have another $5 that sits in what they call the float. And it's essentially like deferred revenue. It's the money you've brought in. They're going to come back to your laundromat because they want to use that $5.
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of builds loyalty. It makes it easy. And I can just go on the dashboard every single day online and I can see, right now so the VAC takes debit and credit. But it also takes bills for people that still prefer to use cash, and we're finding around 50% still like to use cash. So they'll put a $20 bill in, and they get their card, and away they go. They can also. We haven't actually leaned into this yet as far as marketing, but we will. What makes it unique, our laundromat versus any other laundromat in the city, is people can go on. Laundryworks it's called my.laundryworks.com. And they can actually see, they put in their card number, which is linked to our laundromat, and they can see how busy it is. So from home, they can say, oh, there's only 2 machines in use right now. Awesome. It's a good time for me to go get my laundry done. Mm-hmm. And there's also historical graphs that show the optimal times of the day to come in. So people can, it just gives them more, it makes the experience better. And ideally people will start, using that information coming at times that aren't so busy. So we kind of spread out our, how busy we are throughout the week.
Yeah.
The other thing too is
quick. I can't remember if it's Laundryworks or not, but I think you may be able to implement that right into your website actually, to where I can't remember. Can't remember if Laundryworks does that. I thought they did, but I could be wrong about that. But that might be worth looking into, just to have it right there on your website. So you don't have to go to some other site to log in.
That's a great point, actually, Jordan. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. No, that's a great point. But it's a great tool. And then, you can have customers we'll eventually run a campaign where we'll have customers register the card. Number one, the benefit to them is if they lose the card and it's got like $40, $50 on it, they can just shoot us an email and we'll say, yep, no problem. We'll cancel that card, transfer the value over to another one. Mm-hmm. So it sort of is like insurance. Mm-hmm. And then also, they could opt into our marketing. So we could say, hey, thanks for registering your card. If you're interested, is it okay if we send you different deals and specials and stuff? And, again, the idea would be ideally converting our self-serve customers into the next level of service, which would be, drop off, wash and fold. But at very least, it's just better customer retention and just a better user experience.
Yeah. So I have a feeling I already know the answer to this question, but just to give you an opportunity to say it, like, has the transition to the card system, has it been worth it for you guys?
Definitely. From our side, we have so number one, we get just a lot less hassle. We had this old change machine that would constantly jam. It was such a hassle. Like we'd be like, I'd get a call at like 9:00 at night, just put my son to bed and, I'm really ready to just chill out. And it's like, oh, I got to go up to the laundromat now and open up this change machine. And it's such a pain. And, and then we'd have like all the coins, like it would take us, it'd probably take us 5 hours to, roll all the coins and go to the bank. And, and the bank hated it too. And they were like, it was just such a pain. I was so happy to get rid of them. So just I figured just dealing with cash, just processing cash probably took us 7 to 10 hours a week. Like just that alone, like we'd have to, I'd have to drive up every single night. I mean, I wouldn't have to, I guess you could go every couple of days, but we were busy enough that the coins, like I'd have to go up at very least every probably second day. Mm-hmm. And so I just not having to do that was just amazing. I remember we were hoping that we were going to get the Laundryworks system installed before we had a big family trip planned to Greece back in September. And I was telling my wife, I was like, yeah, it'll be awesome. Like we'll be sitting in Greece, just enjoying the seaside and, having a glass of wine or something. And we can like log in and see what the laundromat's doing, but we didn't get it in time, unfortunately. So I had to, my brother-in-law and my mom had to go up every day and collect the coins. So bless them for that.
Yeah. Now you owe them big time.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. That's funny.
But yeah, no, I'd say like, I think just for the analytics, I think, so if I could give like some, like a real world example, when we bought the laundromat, well, there's like, right now there's 5, actually there's 6 small 20-pound machines. Mm-hmm. And we find they get the lowest utilization. So before when we were dealing with cash, I didn't really know that. I thought people kind of like, I thought they were just as busy as any of the other machines. Mm-hmm. One of the machines actually we bought, it didn't work. It was broken when we bought it, but there was a holdback, a $10,000 holdback if the owner didn't fix it within 30 days so anyways, we got the $10,000. We got to keep that to apply towards a new machine. I think from just making the business decision of what size machine, I can look at our Laundryworks and I can break it down per machine. And I can say without a doubt that our 3 big machines, like the 50-pound machines, are the busiest and they produce the most amount of income. Like I know that they produce around $1,000 a month in income. So when we go to buy a couple of new machines here in Canada, there's 40, like we're looking at these 45-pound Wascomats, like fully installed with the base and everything. They're going to be about $16,000 each, like after tax, installation and everything. Okay. So I was thinking, all right, well, I mean, if we just finance it, say over 18 months or 2 years, you pay $700 a month, but they're actually generating around $900 a month. So you're cash flow positive right from the get-go. And after 2 years, you pretty much have like these 2 new machines. Mm-hmm. So without that like intense level of detail and data that Laundryworks gives us, it'd be harder to make that decision. I think I'd be like, yeah, I think the big machines are the way to go, but like, I don't really know exactly how much they're producing each month without exactly keeping track of all the coins and everything. And keeping them separate machine by machine. So that to us, just to make business decisions is, invaluable. The biggest issue with it's not an issue with Laundryworks per se. It's just in our situation, they're older machines. So it was a little bit finicky, like Laundryworks, the readers, it was a little bit finicky at first. Laundryworks does have some, all these different manuals that are machine specific. So if you've got Dexters that are, this series versus that series, you can just look at the installation manual, and it's really not that difficult. As somebody new like us, I felt a lot more comfortable just having our technician that we use for maintenance. He came and helped us out for 2 days, and it took us a few days after that. Some of them were being a bit finicky, and we had to go in and mess around with some wires and stuff. But within 1 week, everything was running perfectly. So
yeah, there's always that learning curve especially when you're implementing new technology. There's going to be a learning curve for you. And then there's also going to be a learning curve for your customer base, who also has to learn that, in your staff and everything, who have to teach the customer base. So yeah, that's to be expected. I don't want to, sit on the card system too long, but last kind of question, I think, unless you say something that triggers another question, which is a possibility. But last question that I have for now on the card system is, are there, for anybody out there who's considering maybe adding a card system, or they've been on the fence going back and forth, is there any considerations or anything that you can think of that can help them figure out how to make that decision? Or do you think kind of blanket, hey, just the data alone, or the added payment options, or the differentiator that it makes, for your laundromat versus other ones in the neighborhood is worth it? Or is there anything that should be considered?
Yeah, I know that with some of the other card systems, I know there's other laundromats in town here that have NIAX card readers on some of their machines. So people can use a credit card for that one specific machine. And then they also but they still have other machines that are cash. With the Laundryworks system, yes, it is expensive, but you do build a float. Already we're running at a $3,000 float after 3 months. So we've essentially brought in an additional $3,000 in revenue over a 3-month period, which, the whole system was 18,000 all in. That 3,000 is already working towards paying off that entire machine or the entire system. And it solves the problem of serving both cash customers and card customers. When you have the example I just gave, some of the other laundromats that have NIAX readers in some of the machines. Yeah, it gives people the ability to use cards there, but you still have to go and collect all the coins and deal with all the coins.
Yeah.
At least with Laundryworks, it's just bills. And I can see at any given time on my Laundryworks dashboard, it'll say, yeah, you've got $540 in bills in the machine right now, totaling, whatever, it's say 26 or 30 bills or something like that, or whatever, 50 bills. So you just go every so often, pull out all the bills. It tells you what the exact breakdown is, how many 20s, 10s, and 5s. So you can just make your deposit slip really quick for the bank, and you're in and out in no time. And with all the card and credit and debit, you have that money is getting deposited every single night. Mm-hmm. Every night at midnight, boom, you're getting your deposit from yesterday. So you get, and I think too, you get enhanced, just going to a bank. You can walk into any bank and say, hey, I want to get financing for some new machines. You can show them and say, look, here's what we make on our self-serve. Here's what we make on our corporate. And, there's no question, well, do you have this big cash component? Are you declaring all that income, et cetera, et cetera. I know banks can, or at least I've heard banks can be, hesitant about lending to laundromats because of the cash component. At least here, it's like, boom, this is what we got. There's no question, down to the cent. This is what we're making. So yeah, I think for just access to lending is a huge benefit right there too.
Yeah. Well, before this episode comes out, I'll give Laundryworks a call over there and have them send you a big fat check for the big.
Yeah, I want a commission.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Thank you for sharing all that stuff. I mean, I think that helps out a lot of owners because, right now, still the majority of laundromats are cash only businesses, right? Mm-hmm. And more laundromats are adding other payment options. And so I think a lot of people are trying to figure out how to navigate that. Right. And cause there is cost associated up front and kind of ongoing, processing fees, credit card fees, those kinds of things that they're trying to figure out, like, how do I navigate that? And, just all of that. It could be tough to navigate. So having somebody share their experience with adding it to a laundromat that didn't have it before and what that was like on the back end, and to hear, the positivity that you're expressing right now is, I think that could be encouraging for a lot of owners. So I appreciate you sharing that. Okay. So,
of course.
Yeah. So you took over this business, you said July, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. Do you feel like you've made a lot of changes in either the actual laundromat or the operations of the laundromat since taking over? And if so, like, what are some of those changes that you've made?
We've been sort of measured in what we've done. We wanted to really first quarter that we were in business, the first from July, August, and September, it was really more like assessing where's our baseline, where we at, what do we need to change. And then last quarter was really about, making certain changes, aesthetically. Like we shut down for 2 days to install Laundryworks. And during that time, we painted. My wife and my mom spent 2 days painting. So, and then we put in some new, like basic, like we bought art on Facebook Marketplace for like $15, $20, per canvas, and put those up on the wall. So it looks nice. We put in some plants, some just nice, like basic furniture from IKEA, some nice chairs, nothing crazy. We got rid of the old stuff from like 1981 and just made it look like a little, an updated, nice place. And in fact, we're getting so many, people still, when I happen to be in there, they'll be like, "Hey, are you the new owner?" Yeah. Like, "Oh, I just want to let you know this place looks great. Like I really like what you guys are doing here." So, makes the customer experience feel better. We got families that come in and they'll spend a couple hours doing, they'll take over a bunch of machines. And so at least it makes their time there nicer. So I'd say, like, aesthetically, and also the branding, we did new signage and everything. I think it looks really, really sharp. And the website and all of our posters that we put up in store are all branded and everything. So, and you know what, I think, I can tell that our employee, she's proud to be there. People come in and are telling her all the time, "Yeah, this place looks great." So I think, it's good for her morale, and it's cool. I mean, I see some of these places on Facebook, like guys in Texas with like these like 10,000 square foot, massive places that are, just awesome. Like they're beautiful. Like they've got like all this stuff, and we just don't have the space to do, kids play areas and all this other stuff. But just some nice paint, some nice art on the wall, some plants, and some nice chairs. Like I found like that alone has just made quite a dramatic impact. So yeah. And then I guess the other thing is just where, just putting in a couple of new machines and slowly upgrading all of our dryers and everything. That's on the to-do list for this year. So
yeah. Well, and it's funny, right? Because you're like, well, we just did, some paint and we added some plants and put some art, but it's like all those little touches, right? Like we're talking about customer service. And, one of the things I've been talking about more and more lately is the laundromat business is in the industry is rapidly moving more and more towards customer service based and service based, even in the self-serve side, right? Like,
right.
Maybe the majority of us are still going to be self-serve laundromats and so we think, hey, it's self-serve. So, serve yourself. But even self-serve only laundromats need to have a focus on service. And what that looks like is taking care of the basics, keeping the machines running, keeping the place clean, but also all these little touches, right? That let your customers know that you care and give that pride of, pride of ownership to the employees that are working there, the attendants that are working there. And all these little things, they seem very little, right? But they all add up to the picture that you're painting of your business, right? We call that a brand, right? Like how people think about your business. And all of these little things contribute to your brand, to the image of your laundromat. And, it's no accident that your business has been improving and growing and you're getting more customers in, you're answering the phone. Seems basic, seems easy, is basic, not always easy. But, shooting text messages, offering different payment options, having online ordering, taking care of making sure you have a good one. Like all these things, just they're all little individually, but they all add up to something really big and put you on a trajectory towards, you've been growing, but it's only been like 6-7 months, right? Like it's going to continue to grow, from here in that time. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Well,
what you got going. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Jordan. Yeah, no. And it's what's interesting. I think this is probably the funniest side of this business I didn't really anticipate with the corporate. So I've been literally just cold calling businesses around. Like I've got a big spreadsheet with like every single RMT in the city, every single hair salon in the city. Like I just made like different spreadsheets for all these different businesses. And I just go to their website, put in a couple of quick key pieces of information, like phone number. And if I could find the owner's name, like in the About Us page of that website, I'd put the owner's name down there. And so I would start calling and I would just say something like, hi, could I speak to, Jessica, the owner of this, whoever the owner is. And, if I happen to get Jessica, she's like, hi, yeah, this is Jessica. I'd be like, oh, hi, this is, my name's David Laing. I'm the owner of Guelph Laundry Company here. We're a laundromat here in the city. And it's hilarious because when have you ever been cold called by a laundromat? Right? Like
I've never been cold called by a laundromat.
I know. It's funny because they're stunned. They're like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. What's up? Like they have no idea why I'm calling. But I'll be like, I just want to let you know that we serve a bunch of RMTs here in the city. Love to talk to you, about whether we can do your laundry for you, et cetera, et cetera. And basically I just try to go over to their place and do a weigh-in and get an assessment of how much laundry they have and try to give them an estimate. But yeah, I just thought it was so funny because everyone's super receptive and very interested. They've never been called by a laundromat before. So they're like, oh, okay, cool. What does this guy want?
That's awesome. And that's the kind of going above and beyond, right? Like, and I think that's what it takes. Like when you're building your base of business, specifically corporate clients, but also, just any kind of like pickup and delivery, right? Like, I don't know that you necessarily want to be calling people's homes. I don't know. Maybe you do. I don't know. I've never done that, but I don't know, maybe that's effective, but definitely on the business B2B side, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the kind of stuff you need to do to build your base business out, start getting the word out, right? Like digital ads are good. It's kind of the hunting versus fishing model, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah. Good point.
The fishing is like the passive, you know, you're throwing your ads out there. You got hooks in the water, and, you know, maybe a fish is going to bite every now and then. And that's awesome. And that can feed your family. Right. But there's also the hunting method where you're actually going out, you're door knocking, you're cold calling, you're doing those kinds of things too. Or you have an employee, or, you know, you make your kid do it or whatever, right? Like somebody's doing that for you. But that's the kind of thing that I see the successful people, not just in the laundromat business, but just, you know, business owners in general. That's the kind of thing that I see you know, people doing, where they're like, I'm going to try every kind of method I can try to build this into what my vision of this business is. And if you have big vision for your business, you've got to take some big action, you know, to get there. Right. Absolutely. And so I love the cold calling thing. I think more of us should be cold calling, even though it's probably the most painful thing in the world for a lot of people. People hate cold calling. But
absolutely. So the bright side is, for anybody that does want to start cold calling for building the corporate side, like, people love it. They think it's hilarious. They're like, why is this laundromat calling me?
Yeah.
They're all super receptive. So I haven't had anybody that's been upset at all.
All right. Caveat to that, though, is that you are in Canada, and everybody we know is friendly in Canada at all times. So I'm just kidding.
Sure. There's that. There's that. There's the Canada factor, I guess.
The Canada factor. Exactly. Okay. So you've got this business going. Can I ask, like, I know that you're filling the gap. You're standing in the gap for, you know, certain parts of your business. You're early on, the early phase, and you're in growth mode. So with that kind of knowledge as a background of this question, like, how much time are you spending on this business? Like, you're a pilot, you've got a job, you've got a family, obviously. Like, how much time are you spending on this business?
Right now, so I don't work in the business very often. I'll go and do deliveries. The odd time I'll even go in and help with the wash and fold if it's like a really big order and, you know, our attendant is feeling overwhelmed. But like week to week, I'm not in the business very often, but I'm working on the business. So we have I actually learned about Traction, the book Traction by Gino Wickman, through your podcast.
Oh, awesome.
Great. I remember you were talking about it with that guy, with the engineer from
Brian, I think. Brian Reisland.
And so I ended up reading that book, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. So now we've implemented the weekly pulse meeting that Gino talks about in his book. So that's every single Monday. Me, my wife, my sister, and my brother-in-law. So that's working on the business. We just had our annual meeting down in Niagara Falls, and we planned out our 10-year revenue target, core focus, core values, 3-year picture, 1-year plan, went through all of our issues, did a SWOT analysis, and we just did all the stuff from the book basically, and got ourselves, kind of on the same page. And so week to week, I would say my wife is very every day she does operations. She basically acts as a store manager. So she makes sure that every morning the driver knows exactly what pickups and drop-offs are happening. She does, invoicing customers day to day, answering questions. She mans the phone, deals with our attendant day to day. My wife is a lawyer as well, so she actually made the employment contracts for our driver, our cleaner that comes in, and our attendant. So she's very much operations manager, basically. She's she's the integrator, and I know you talked about Rocket Fuel, which I haven't read yet, but I'd be very interested to. And I know he does talk about, visionaries need to find their integrator, and integrators need to find their visionary, and when we sort of looked into that, I was like, wow, like that's totally us. I think that's why we work so well together. My wife really spends more time day to day working, as manager in the business kind of idea. And I spend more time sort of sales, like sales calls, cold calls, dealing with our corporate customers. If there's a problem, they call me, doing content for our marketing. And sort of, just kind of more strategic type stuff. So if I had to put an hour figure on it, I do a bit every day, probably 1 to 2 hours a day on average kind of thing, maybe 10, 12 hours a week. Maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less.
Yeah. But, I that's awesome. I mean, cause it sounds like you're doing a lot of stuff but then when you get to that down to like, I'm doing like 10, maybe 12 hours a week. Like that's doable for most people, even if they're working a full-time job. Right.
Absolutely.
And so
sure.
That's, it's interesting, right? Like I think this business gets sold as passive a lot, which I do not agree with. It's not a passive business. However, I will say that it's probably more passive than I don't know about any business, but than most businesses that you can have that can provide the kinds of returns that a laundromat can provide. So that's what's interesting. And I would call it more time independent than passive, because it's not, I mean, you got to do stuff. And like this whole, one of the cool things about this whole episode or interview so far, that of the things that you're saying is like, you're doing a lot of things, but it's a lot of little things that are adding up. Right. And I think that when people first get intrigued by this laundromat industry, this laundromat business, they get sold on the passive side of things. Right. But there are things to do. And I always say like, hey, if there's a ton of people and there's a ton of machines. So whenever you have people or machines, you're going to have problems, right? So there's going to be stuff to deal with. There's going to be things to do. But even still, 10, 12 hours a week is pretty reasonable to be able to do all these different things. And I mean, I need to go back. I need to go back and just say, absolutely, dude, killer job on developing your plan for like, who does that for their laundromat? I love that. I think more of us need to, take a retreat at the end of the year, the beginning of the year, and draw out our goals and, do our SWOT analysis and, do all of those things. Look at our key performance indicators from last year, set new ones, new standards and new goals for the next year. And like, I love that you're doing that, for your business, because that's what it takes to grow a business into a business. So killer. Yeah. And I hope that's the new standard for everybody.
Thank you.
Can you talk?
You know what it was?
Yeah. I was just saying, can you tell us a little bit about like what exactly you guys did on that little retreat and like what you were planning and talking through for anybody who's like, I should do that for my business?
Absolutely. So so first of all, I read the book Traction by Gino Wickman. It's very, very, for anybody that doesn't know, it's a book that teaches you it's just the tools to run a business. Doesn't matter what business or what size. This is how you run a successful, good quality business. Assuming you have a product or service that people actually want. It's a very easy read. So we went through all of the steps that he suggests in the book. And basically we used that time in Niagara Falls. We just booked a hotel on points, on our business credit card points. And we had a really great time. We slotted 6 hours. Like, I know in the book, he's like, you should have 2 days for this. We just didn't have the luxury of having 2 days, but we did set aside basically a 6-hour time slot. And me, my wife, my sister, and my brother-in-law, we all have a role in the business. And we sat down and just went through the entire thing. So we actually I got the agenda here. Actually, so you've probably seen this, the VTO.
Oh yeah.
the vision traction organizer. Basically, we went through the exercise of filling that out over the 6-hour period. And for people that don't know, it's basically your entire business plan on 2 pages. How to get your vision that you have for where you want to go, and to get your team on the same vision. And then how to actually like implement it. Like, what are you going to do if you want to get over here in 10 years? What are you going to do to get there? Like, where are you going to be in 3 years from now? And if in 3 years from now you want to be there, well, you may need more staff, you may need bigger machines. So these are all things that, we need to think about. And so we were able to kind of put pen to paper and get granular on what it was that we wanted to achieve and what we wanted to do. So, and it was, so that was cool. We went through that. And basically I just printed out an agenda where we were like, okay, number one, we're a new company. We need to establish what our core values are, and again, this is just all part of the book. Mm-hmm. So we discussed what was important to us as people and what, we would want in a business. So we came up with, 6 core values that we thought were important, and then core focus. So I'm going through this in preparation for the meeting, and I'm going through core values, core focus, and I was like, I get why, Fortune 500 companies have a value statement and a focus statement. It looks good. It looks like I didn't realize how much importance there is to actually doing this. Like core values, for example, for any business, in the book, Gino Wickman says, you hire, fire, and reward based on core values. You want to have people that are working with you and working for you that, embody those core values, and it's just going to make your HR problems, I don't want to say go away, but it should minimize like how many sort of HR type problems you have, because you're hiring people and rewarding people based on the same values that you possess as a business owner. And then, so I was like, okay, all right, this makes sense to me. This is really cool. There's like actual real world use as a business owner to establishing core values. So then I started going through core focus. And for anybody that doesn't know, so in the book, core focus is essentially, you have to figure out what it is that drives your business beyond, it can't be making money. What is it like? Why are you in business? You're serving people or you're selling a product. But what's the higher cause, purpose, or passion? For us as in the service industry, providing laundry services, we're giving people back time. We're allowing people to spend time with their families or focus on their business or go hiking, work out, whatever they want to do, instead of doing laundry. And when it's for a business, it allows them to focus on revenue generating activity instead of doing laundry. Like RMTs, it takes them 5 hours a week to do their laundry. That could be if that's $110 per massage, that's like $550 right there in revenue. Mm-hmm. So we're giving people back time to spend the time doing what they want. So that's what your main purpose is when you're figuring your core focus. So what's your higher passion? Like for us, we believe people deserve more time. And then what's the niche? Well, obviously it's, for any of us in the laundry business, it's providing quality laundry service. So when I dove deeper into core focus, I came across a guy named Simon Sinek. I don't know if you've heard of him at all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The guy is just amazing. And there's that TED talk of him talking about core focus and why the best companies in the world speak from the why. Like the why essentially is what drives your marketing message. Mm-hmm. When you talk about why you're in business and what your core passion is, and for us, we believe people deserve more time. That should be in all of our marketing. That's where your voice comes from. And rather than just saying, yeah, we have a laundry service, $2 a pound, pick up and delivery. It's like, oh, okay. Like okay, fine. That's good. Who cares?
Right.
But it's like, hey, I believe you deserve more time. Like, you're a busy parent. You've got stuff going on. You don't need to be doing 5 to 7 hours of laundry. Like, what if I could give you the time to go hiking every weekend with your family? Well, if that sounds interesting to you, boy, do we have the right service for you. Like, that is so much more powerful than like, yeah, it's $2 a pound. We'll come to your house, pick up your laundry and clean it. So that, I think when I was going through this whole process and I came across Simon Sinek in his TED Talk, I was just like blown away. I was like, this is like the most important, 20-minute YouTube video I've seen, like, probably in the last, couple of years. And for us that are trying to build a pickup and delivery laundry service in a new market where it didn't exist before, which for a lot of us is the case, like, unless you live in a big city, like a big metro city, like in our little city of 150,000 people, even in our whole region, there's probably 1.5 million people in our region outside of Toronto, really doesn't exist. And so Simon Sinek talks about the law of diffusion of innovation, where you need to sell early adopters. And when you get 15 to 18% market penetration by selling to your early adopters, it's only then that you'll actually start seeing mass market adoption. And so how do you talk to the first 15%? How do you sell the first 15%? Those people are only going to buy into your service if they believe what you believe, and that's why you have to talk to them from the why. That's what's going to resonate with them, because they're buying into something. And and that all goes to core focus. So again, that was item number 2 on our annual planning thing. And it's really just developing who we are as a company, what our focus is, and then that drives our marketing message.
Dude, so good. Well, what's really funny to me, right, and that we need to keep in perspective here, and you kind of alluded to it, is that this sounds really great for, Fortune 500 companies, or whatever. You're 1,000 square foot laundromat, right? and it sounds funny because it's like, okay, dude, like taking things too seriously or something. But genuinely, like, this is a way to professionalize your laundromat, right? And it almost sounds like an oxymoron, right? Like a professional laundromat, right? Or professional laundry service, right? You're just like, okay, dude, you're like a laundromat. You're not even a big one, right? Like, but again, going back to the image, going back to the brand, how people see you, if you conduct yourself in a way that's professional and you're thoughtful about the way that you want to present yourself and the way that you want to operate, which what I love about you going through Traction and actually implementing it. Wow, what a concept, right? Like actually implementing what you read. That is becoming crystal clear on who you are and how you want to operate and how you want people to see you. And people notice that and they want to do business with that. And like you said, people are like, when you first, broach the topic with them, like, hey, I'm a laundromat cold calling you here. Like, they're really intrigued by that, right? Because it's like, well, what laundromat ever cold calls anybody?
Yeah, right.
Right. But killer stuff. And, Simon Sinek, I don't know if you read his book, the Start With Why book.
I haven't. I would love to.
Put it on your list. So I'm going to link to Traction. You mentioned Rocket Fuel. I'll link to that. I'll try to dig up his Simon Sinek's TED Talk and I'll link to that. And then I'll link to his book, also Start With Why. That book, transformational. It actually took me from I've made some major life changes because of that book, like in terms of my nutrition plan. My nutrition has, on a personal level, I've shifted it because my why, I got pretty clear on my why, on why I do that. Right. And
especially when you're implementing something new, right? And you're kind of mentioning, hey, there's not really any other pickup and delivery services and stuff, right? Like it's hard to get people to change, including yourself, but other people especially. It's hard to get people to change unless there's a clear reason why they should change that really benefits them, right?
Right.
And so that's, I think, what you're getting at with like, hey, when I'm trying to sell this thing, I'm trying to sell that why, because the why is going to be the compelling reason to change from them doing their laundry, however they're doing their laundry right now, to allowing you to do their laundry so that they can have whatever that why is, going hiking with the kids, making more money at their job, whatever they end up wanting to do, instead of doing their laundry. And that why, and that's why it could be so powerful to sell the story.
Yes.
Right. And that's what we're selling. We're not selling laundry services. We're selling the story of what life could look like for them without laundry, without having to do laundry, right? Like exactly. That's what we're selling. So
exactly. And what I think is interesting in the law of diffusion of innovation that Simon Sinek talks about is, those early adopters will buy based on that belief in what you're selling. Because they believe what you believe. We believe people deserve more time. And here's a way to give it back to you. Once you get the early mass market, they're going to buy more because, Joe at work uses this laundry service and he never has to do laundry again. Like, that's pretty awesome. I think I'm going to try that out too. They're going to more do it because somebody they know maybe recommended it or suggested it or talked about it. But you only get to that point when you get the believers kind of thing that are believing what it is that you're out trying to do. So I thought that was like, so as you talked about, transformational.
Yeah. Yeah. Killer. And it just, as you were talking about all the, like doing your traction retreat and all that, like, I was just thinking, so one of the things, I've mentioned this before on the podcast, specifically early, but I like read and listen to a lot of audiobooks, and just nonfiction books in general that I'll read. And I've been doing like 50 to 60 a year books that I've been going through for the last like 4 or 5 years.
Good for you.
This year, my goal actually is to do half that or less. Okay, cool. One of the reasons is I've read a lot of books now. I've implemented very few of the things that I've been reading. And so now I'm trying to dial back what I'm consuming, because if I really believe that there's value in a book like Traction, right, I need to be implementing what Traction is saying in his book. Another one that really was transformational for me was, 4 disciplines of execution, right? And basically like how to get stuff done, how to execute on that plan that you come up with. Traction. That was like a game changer book for me, right? And implementing that traction plan and making sure that everything is aligned and incentivized properly and all that. So, so my focus this year is don't consume as much and do more, implement more.
Interesting.
That's
cool.
Not do more as in, like be busier, but like implement more of what I'm learning and consume less of it. So
I think we could all use that lesson. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Just a little interesting thing, but
for sure,
dude, killer input. Thank you for sharing sort of the process that you're going through and the stuff that you're doing to professionalize your laundromat business. Like,
for sure.
Seriously, very, very impressive. And I think more of us need to be approaching our businesses this way. So awesome.
Cool. Thank you, Jordan.
One more question before we get to our next segment of the podcast is, do you have any plans or aspirations for the future? Is the plan to just continue to grow this laundromat? Are you going to add more? You have any thoughts on? I mean, you're still pretty early in the process, so I don't know where you're at with that, but just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I mean, definitely my vision is we have this great resource, which is this team. Me, my wife, my sister, and my brother-in-law, the four of us work so well together. We all have different strengths. I really just want to lean into that. And we all kind of came on the same page at our annual retreat. And the goal is, I would like to be the category king in the region. Like, I'd like to be the biggest, best go-to pickup and delivery laundry service, in the whole region. There's like a group of cities that are all west of Toronto. There's a lot of population and varied socioeconomic groups, but there's just nothing. We're actually starting to get calls from some of these surrounding cities already, and one of our biggest corporate customers has a location in a neighboring city as well. So it'd be a good stepping stone for us to move into that market. So the goal is definitely to grow the company. And, I love the Wilford brothers. Those guys are amazing. They've been on your podcast a bunch, and I follow them on Facebook and stuff. And I was laughing because their corporate retreat, or the Christmas party has like thousands of people, like Santa Claus shows up, and there's like this massive like dinner and everything. And we had like a little Christmas appreciation for our employees. And we had like 3 pizzas and some chicken wings,
Yeah.
But I mean, I look at guys like that as inspiration, and yourself. You've got multiple places, and I want to be because I really, really enjoy this business. I really enjoy the fact that you're dealing with people all the time. Like, customers are really happy and they appreciate the service. They appreciate what we're doing. I feel lucky to be dealing with such great customers on, maybe not a daily basis, but they reach out, they're appreciative. If they have a problem, we fix it, and they're super happy. And I really like it. And I just want to keep growing to more locations and kind of be, a regional dominant player kind of thing.
Love it. I love those goals and aspirations. And I genuinely, I think you're on the path towards that, right? You're on the path towards that big old Christmas party, because
thanks, you're the Wilford Brothers Christmas party.
That's right. You're doing those things. You may have a little while to catch up to those guys, but
for sure.
But it's doable. I mean, genuinely, run your business like a professional business and watch it grow. That's the miracle grow sauce there, right? Run it like a professional business, take it seriously, take your customers seriously, treat them well, and watch it grow. Right.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right. We have a segment of the podcast called Secret Sauce. Listen up. It's the secret sauce.
All right.
And secret sauce is basically, hey, what is something? I mean, we've been talking about a ton of things already. But what's something that you have to say to current laundromat owners that can help them run their business better or improve their business?
I would say, so I have 2 things for that. I'd say number 1, try to work on the business instead of in it as much as possible. I found that when I was doing deliveries 3 times a week, like our pickup route, 3 times a week for a while, and it was too busy. I found myself too tired to focus on anything else, like on marketing and stuff. And it was just, for the 20, like we paired contract drivers, $20 an hour, for the $20 an hour that you're saving, it's just not worth it. It's just too, it just takes up too much of your time, so as much as possible, try to work on the business instead of in the business. And the other thing is our marketing. I feel like our Google reviews campaign, that's super simple with the in-store poster where we reward customers for leaving us honest reviews. I mean, even if we do it through our card reader system, but even if you didn't have a card reader system, you could still say, hey, give us a Google review, an honest review, and we'll enter your name into a draw for, whatever, there's still ways to incentivize people to leave you reviews. And if you happen to be attended, then, use that resource, that in-store person, to make sure that people are aware of your campaign. Big one for us, again, has been using local Facebook market groups, or rather Facebook groups. Some of them are online markets, and other ones are just like sort of, local groups for the city and different happenings and stuff. So, kind of being active and posting in those. There's also, and I think for us, it's too early for me to say if I know some of our social media is driving awareness to our business. We just haven't gotten our social media to where I want it. Like we need to be posting daily, like 5 days a week. And, I'm able to do it pretty easily by just creating one piece of content and then repurposing it to the different platforms. So that'll be this quarter. One of our, rocks or goals for this quarter is going to be to get our social media on point and be consistent with that. So I think I guess that in a nutshell, this speaks to running your business like a 21st century company. Even though we're small local businesses, running it the way that people have been accustomed to interacting with businesses, as consumers, marketing, social media presence, and working, again, that goes to working on the business instead of in the business.
Yeah. Awesome advice. And, like I said, it's all those little things that add up that you're doing. That's killer. And I love the working on your business instead of in it. Now, and kind of going back to you, like there are times to work in your business, right? And especially if you're having to stand in the gap and all that stuff. So there's, I think people get shamed sometimes online. I've seen some of that happening for, working in their business, doing the cleaning, doing the driving, doing that stuff. And, my perspective on that is that, first of all, run your business how you want to run your business. If you want to work in the business, work in the business.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Second of all, sometimes you got to do that to get to the next phase, right? You either have the money to pay somebody or you don't. You got to do it yourself if you want it done, right? And so, just to kind of destigmatize working in your business. But if you're trying to build a business and grow a business, you have to carve out time to work on your business. Right. And the more working on your business you can do, the more you can do with your business. So yeah, I think that's awesome advice.
For sure.
Okay. We have another segment called Pro Tips. And Pro Tips is for the newbie, the person that was you maybe like a year ago looking to buy their first laundromat. Do you have any advice for them?
Absolutely. My advice is there's so much great research out there. So I'd say just put some time into research. Laundromat resource. That was the first one I came across. You've got all those awesome tools. Like I went through all of your tools that you had on your the free members area of your website, and checklists and all that kind of stuff. Start there. Laundromat resource. That to me, literally, like when we met or when we spoke a year ago, it saved us a bunch of time because I had gone through all of your stuff already, and we were able to kind of get down to the nitty gritty. Because I could say, okay, Jordan, here's all the information that we should have when assessing a laundromat. So here's what we've got. Now where do we go from here?
Just real quick, I went back while we were talking before we hit record to look at my notes from our call, and I saw like you had the score for the laundromat, the pre-analysis score. And I think it was, I can't remember. I just looked at it. So like you're one of the few people who've come to one of the coaching calls with all that stuff ready to go. Here's the number, here's the score. Let's get into the nitty gritty now. So yeah.
Yeah. Big time. No, that was really interesting. And it gave us a lot of confidence. with, when we went to the next deal, which was the one that we purchased, just went through that same procedure. Facebook groups have been really good. I found, there's a bunch out there. If you just type in like Laundromat resource groups, I joined pretty much all of them. And then the Coin Laundry Association, I used them as well too. Not as much as the Facebook groups and your website. So I would say do your research, Laundromat resource, your website, podcast, Facebook groups, Coin Laundry Association.
Yeah, great. Now I got to get you a check from Laundryworks, and I have to send you a check too.
That's right. I mean,
this is the most expensive podcast interview I've ever done. No, those are great tips. And again, links to all that stuff down below. All right. Last segment before we wrap this thing up is, do you have any resources that you recommend to people to help them grow themselves personally or their businesses? I know we've already mentioned quite a few, but yeah, let's put them all right here.
I would say number one for me, if I had to choose one, we talked about it a lot already, is Traction, the book. If you've never owned a business before, which I haven't, I mean, I've got real estate investments, but it's just completely passive. Owning a business, it's just bar none. It's just so useful. Like you can just start implementing things right away. So yeah, I would go with that for sure.
Yeah. I agree. And you know what, if I was going to do I don't know, I'm just taking over your recommended resources, but if I was going to do a sort of a trifecta, I would say start with why.
Oh, nice.
Then go to Traction.
Yeah.
And then go to 4 disciplines of execution.
Nice.
And you will be unstoppable. Like awesome. Genuinely, like and I'm only like putting this together, like in this order right now, like now, like today, like as we're speaking, and as you brought up, Simon Sinek's TED Talk, which I think either came from Start With Why or turned into Start With Why, the book. Right. But that plus Traction, I was like, yeah, that's a powerful combo. And I was like, if you had 4DX, 4 disciplines of execution, to that's a powerhouse combo right there. So
awesome. That's that's the starter kit right there.
That's the starter kit, and then throw in rocket fuel after that, and then you're to the moon. Yeah,
that's right.
You're going to the moon. Man, we just changed everybody's lives right now, which is 4 books. That's great.
That's right.
Sweet. Yeah, and again, links to all that stuff down below, and specifically to Traction if you want to go check that out. Dude, this has been I'm like so energized and jazzed up. I don't like.
Oh, me too.
We just talked for like almost 2 hours, and I am just like so pumped up and jazzed right now because of what you got going on and all the stuff that you shared. Like so much good stuff from just like the simple practical stuff of talking to the card system stuff. But really, man, I got fired up when I heard that you took a retreat, with your family to talk about the business and lay the groundwork and talk about going forward. And I'm like, oh gosh, like I'm super excited. Yeah. So hopefully you guys listening to this are also just as jazzed up as we are over here. David, this has been awesome. Thank you again for taking the time to come on and share your wisdom, your experience, your story with everybody. I have one last question for you. If other people are just super jazzed up right now, and they want to connect with you, they want to, awesome. Ask you some questions, or they just want to be your friend because you're doing awesome things. And maybe they want you to fly them around a little bit. I don't know. What's the best way that people can get in contact with you?
Definitely. They can email me, info@guelphlaundry.ca. Guelph is, so it's info@GUELPH laundry.ca. I'm on Twitter @tracking_David. And, or you can find me on Facebook, David Laing. Any one of those 3.
Cool. I will again link to all that stuff in the show notes and down below if you're on YouTube. David,
You're awesome, dude. Thank you so much for coming on.
You're awesome, Jordan. Thank you.
This is going to have to be a part 1, I think, because
let's do it.
I think you're going to look back at this interview at the end of this year and be like, holy cow, was that just only a year ago? Cause I think you're going to the moon. So
thanks, man.
Appreciate you coming on again. And I look forward to having you back on again with an update episode.
100%.
That'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
Awesome. All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, Jordan. Thanks.
All right. I know you love that episode. And again, David is joining for a live Q&A, and I mean, just so much good stuff. David, huge shout out to you and huge thanks. Make sure you follow him. I'll put his Twitter handle down below. He's sharing a bunch of really cool laundromat related stuff on his Twitter too. So make sure you follow him there. And listen, pick something that you're going to put into action today. For me, I got super excited about this combo that we started putting together of the start with why, and then traction, and then the 4 disciplines of execution. So I'm actually going to pull out all of those books again this week and kind of go through them and see how I can implement those things in the businesses that I'm running. So that's my action step for this week. What's your action step? Pick something, put it into action, maybe go share it on the forums, laundromatresource.com/forums. Let's get it done, people. My goal is to help you achieve that financial freedom. And so listen, we got to put stuff into action. So let's do it. Let's do it together, because we're all better when we do it together. All right. We'll see you next week. Peace.